Welcome back, everybody, to This Is My Bourbon Podcast. I'm your host, Perry, and with me, as he always is, it's my co-host, Eric the Whiskey Mutant.
I'm not mad at you anymore.
I'm glad.
I might be later. I'm not right now.
Okay, well, it's...
Because I got a friend to sit with.
Yeah, we got somebody in between us who's watching a tennis match. He said ping pong match earlier. I'm going to limit it to ping pong, but it's our good buddy, Dixon Dedman, returning to the show.
I finally was able to scratch up enough money to pay for this appearance. So
that's the seedy back rooms of podcasting for bourbon.
Well, I know, but it's gonna happen. We got a few more couches to go through for some loose change, and life is good.
Well, that's okay. But it's also okay that this is a terrible segue, but we're going to let you know, too, that you can support the show if you'd like to by heading to patreon.com/mybourbonpodcast for as little as $1 a month, but for as little as $5 a month and up, you can get bonus content every single week, including but not limited to a bonus episode on Mondays and the pregame chats on Tuesdays and early uncut episodes on Tuesdays as well. Dixon is actually on all of our Patreon content this week.
Just wait. Pop Chicka Wawa. It's a little extra.
It's something, man, but it's fun. But yeah, we appreciate everybody who's a supporter over there, and we really appreciated Dixon being on this week's episode.
And letting us in. Yeah. He has a bathroom in this place.
Eric's not been able to stop talking about it. It's been very, very cute, actually.
No, but you know what? Let's get real here. Okay, you go to somebody's place, and you usually say, "Where's the bathroom?" Okay, I said, "Dixon, do you have a bathroom?" My bad. I'm from Eastern Kentucky too. Some people didn't. We talked about this. Some people don't even have bathrooms. You gotta go outside. But sometimes we go into places, and they don't even let us use the bathroom.
That is true. You see, there are a lot of places where you see a sign that says no restrooms.
Yeah. So I'm just saying.
Just buy a cup of coffee at the Starbucks before you go. That's is that what you're talking about?
Is
here?
that the hack here?
Just anything.
Where are you guys hanging out?
I just feel like sometimes people
it's better if we don't
want
talk about
you
it.
in their bathrooms.
Oh yeah, well,
you're nice, and I appreciate that.
This might be the reason you haven't been on in a few years, is because
you're like,
you're a little worried about our mental state.
Yeah, this is my favorite kind of thing. This is my wheelhouse, man.
You went from
these super professional things where you got to be like
from a New York sports show to these two jabronis.
Yeah. Well,
we kick off every episode with some segment, but this week it's flying blind, and I'm going to blind these guys with a pour.
But wait, I thought maybe that I would blind you with a pour.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, let's do that.
And then we can do your blind.
Yeah, let's do that. I think that's.
But I have
fun.
a blind for you.
Let's do your blind. I'm very excited about.
Well, we can do your blind too.
No, let's do your blind first.
I was walking in and I was like, no.
We don't have to do my blind.
He's still angry.
I know he is
a little bit.
Yeah, I feel it. I can feel it.
There's
from
your
across
blind. Right there.
Right there.
It's off.
Thank my shirt.
Oh, wait, no. It's actually...
I can reach it.
Little T-Rex arms over
there. So Dixon's poured us up something. Audio listeners.
Well, I just saw it, and I was like, that'd be fun. I don't know if... I don't think I've ever had this with you guys before.
Even if you have, I'm okay. I just love it when you pour things for me. I'll be honest with you.
Maybe. I mean,
You're always.
I think there's like a 50-50 chance that what I've had with y'all I don't remember either. So
that's two of us.
That's a real thing.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and cheers first before Perry drinks.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Okay.
I don't know.
I know
it smells dusty.
It's a dark cherry. Like if there was like an older something, I don't know. It reminds me of something older that's got a dark cherry like cola note.
So are you leaning more towards it being an old product, like age stated, or it being
I think it's
dusty?
got some age on. Not dusty. I think it's got some age to it.
I'm leaning towards it being dusty.
Okay.
Because it's kind of got that funk on it. color-wise, it
It's
doesn't look like it's,
got some legs. It's got some legs.
it does, but I don't know if it's like 20 years old. You know what I mean?
How long? I'll ask this. I know we're doing this blind. How long has it been since you had this? Do you have it recently, or is this the first time in a while you've had it?
No, I've had this, tasted this.
Mm-hmm.
I've tasted this recently.
Okay. Ooh, that coats. I feel it like all around. Perry, the dustiness you were talking of on the nose kind of does come through on the palate.
Yeah.
I would say it's not too high proof. Around 100 something, maybe.
I think that the alcohol kind of starts to dissipate a little bit more towards the back end of the palate. Why is it doing this like banana split with almonds thing?
Banana split.
This is crazy. This is a very like decadent pour. I'm not even entirely convinced that it is dusty anymore. I'll be honest with you.
I could see some banana Foster on that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would say overall, this reminds me of like a cherry Coke float with like some ice cream, like a cherry Coke float. It's delicious. I don't know if I have an actual guess on it.
I'm going to say it's a rye bourbon.
Okay.
Really going out there.
Well, it's not giving me the characteristics of a weeded bourbon.
I'm gonna say there's corn
cognac.
At first, I thought it nosed like one of those one of those really good like Stag Junior.
Yeah.
It had that dark cherry cola note I get on the nose. Really reminds me of that stuff. But it doesn't. When I went to the palate, it's not as much cherry cola on the palate. You get more of that vanilla, like ice cream, like the float part of it.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's that high proof, but I could be wrong.
The 100 proof guess, I feel like, is the misleading part of it.
It could be.
Because I feel like it's drinking way below its proof point. I feel like it's closer to something in the 120 to 130 proof range. Just because of how much flavor there is.
Right.
I'm going to say 12 years. 125.
125.
Are you just saying what I'm saying?
No,
okay.
I'm repeating.
Either way, this is really, really good.
All right, so what's the next part? What do we do next?
Will you tell us what it is?
Oh, no, I'm not going to tell you what it is.
Oh, okay, fine. No, that's fine.
That's what I thought it was.
Great.
No, I'm just... So that...
Just edit it to where I got it right.
Yeah. That's so I had one open in there. That's the Kentucky Owl Dry State. That I did in 2020 maybe.
Yeah.
So it was 100 proof. You were right on.
Mm-hmm.
It was a blend of 16 barrels total. They were 13, 15, and 16 years old. The combo of barrels.
I will say we've had this with. I've had this with you. I know Perry's had it.
Do we have it together?
I have had this with you.
Okay.
But I don't know if we had it at the same time.
Wait, have I? I don't know. It's been a foggy 5 years.
So this is. I was going to save this for the main portion where we start talking, but I'll bring it up now since you brought up Dry State. So there's two things. One of the best Christmas presents I ever received. My wife got me a bottle of Dry State. So
that was a very nice Christmas present.
Yeah.
Not because of the bottle, just because of the price of the bottle.
Right.
That's
yeah. It had cupcakes and stuff in it. So in the box.
I think I do remember that.
Yeah. So, I've obviously got you some cupcakes over here.
I think I did.
You had a hand. You had a hand in it.
She may have reached out to you for some advice on that, and I will. And 100%, I will 100 always like. That's just one of the most amazing things. But next to that, though, is I took April when you were still at the inn. We stayed there for one of our, I think, anniversaries, and you were still doing tastings, and we got to do a tasting with you. It was me, her, and then just random people. Didn't even know who they were. All these.
I love this story.
And just tasting these whiskeys with you, we had already met, we became friends, but having that moment, you honestly, you taught me a lot in there. Like you had mentioned on the, I guess on the pregame chats where we were talking about the mid palate, the third and all that stuff. And you always would when we did that tasting, you were like, what are you getting over there? And I would say something like, I my tasting notes are like a little Debbie cake of some sort. And, Dixon's always like, why they never got that before? I'm just like straight up like this is, and I just love that because you're always just straightforward. Like, how do you get this? But needless to say, you were always so nice about extra things that my wife still talks about how you she loves history and everything, and you showed her all the windows and like the history of the inn and how like people would etch things in the corner. And I don't know, like that night was one of the coolest evenings ever, just hanging out and having whiskey. And she don't even like drink. She's like, just make me an old fashioned, I'm good. But she had so much fun. And then adding it to like having Dry State and the fact that you poured that, like, I don't know, like I think it's just awesome.
I miss that. I mean, I miss being able to do that, to have people, and it was honestly like that's some of that is some of the hardest stuff I've ever done before in terms of a group of people and trying to create this like fun, cool, intimate experience that everybody can get something out of when you don't know who's walking in that door. Like, it's not like now, 2 nights ago, I'm like, where was I? Columbus, and like it's a bourbon group. There's 120 people that have signed up, and they're there, and they're they're there to hear about 2XO. It's like, okay, that, but I mean, I would sit down sometimes and like you'd have 2 people that have this encyclopedic knowledge of and experience with bourbon, and then a group that's like, yeah, we're just here for the first time, we don't really ever touch stuff. And then you got another group that's like, what's the difference between bourbon and scotch? Right. And then you got another group that's like, and you have to leave this with everybody. Yeah. And it's like, okay, how are we gonna get there? But I also loved it, man. I mean, it was fun. I mean, talking about Whiskey Weekend, those things, they were special. I mean, having y'all, I remember when y'all were there, and I just, it's always, I always feel bad. Like, I probably apologize to you 50 times because I just, like, I got 14 people in the room, but I know that guy, and I know that like when it's quiet, I can kind of give him a hard time, and it breaks the ice or whatever. So like, tell me, cupcake guy, like what are we tasting here? And he's just like, I'm going to murder you after this. But I don't know. It's always, I miss that. I mean, I do miss that.
To me, like, I mean, it's a few fold, but like I always like felt in those spaces like when there were other people around, like it was a fun experience to share what it was like to know you. Does that make sense? Like, because like I've gotten to sit down with you off mic and share pours, right? And in those tasting settings as well, and share pours. And when you're sitting down with people who don't know you as well as I do, it's almost like giving them that opportunity to do so. Does that make sense?
It does. I think it's super kind and probably not warranted at all. I mean, it's so funny. It's like
I forgot about this part of talking with you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was really cracking up. I got home yesterday. I was in Columbus for a couple of days. We were doing this big tasting event, the Central Ohio Whiskey Society, and the guy who runs it, his wife, apparently, she's a super sweet lady, but she went to like the guy that runs Ohio for us, and she was like, we've never had anything like this before. Like, what's going on with this guy? And he's like, I'm sorry. What's he doing? She's like, well, he's real, and he's like, he's not reading from a script, and he's not like, he doesn't have a PowerPoint presentation, and he's telling stories. She's like, is he? I mean, is this real, or is he really drunk? and I, which is fair for me.
If you don't know, yeah.
But in reality, I did not have and so like Will was like, well, I've put a sample in front of him for everything he's talked about, and they're all still sitting up there. And like, I don't, and he's like, I think, he's just not like a formal speaker. He's just a pretty shoot from the hip guy.
Yeah.
And she was like, well, we just, that's pretty incredible. And I was like, listen, he told me this after. I was like, you want me to go up there and make a formal presentation? Like, if I got it, one time I had to do like a sort of a TED talk,
I remember that. Yeah.
And you have to like, it wasn't like a real TED talk, not like
sure, TED
talk, but like, there was time, then there were no notes, and you had to,
right.
do it. I can't do it. No chance. Can't, not my, but give me a microphone. I can go up there and, something I know. And and I always feel like you kind of tailor the experience to the audience. And so you kind of feel the room out a little bit. Like, what are they after? What are they looking for here? What's going to be the thing that makes them tick? And, do they want to get super deep and technical and all that stuff? Or they want to, I love that's what I love about you. Like, I think it is, I love it. Like, you have figured out the way you taste. Like, you got it.
Yeah.
And I just think it's so awesome. Like, I wish, again, I've talked about this before with you all, but there's certain types of tasters where, like, you got it. Like, your reference point. Like, your reference point is sugary goodness, and some version of sugary goodness. And I'm always like, that is just like that's his thing, but it's cool as hell.
Yeah.
I remember
I appreciate that.
talking with you at one point too. Like, I think it was a larceny pick or something that I was tasting with you, and the note that I gave was Frosted Flakes or something, and you were like, I just need to sit down and pay more attention to like these very specific notes that some people are attentive to. And I think that like being able to bring somebody like Eric onto the podcast who does just walk and talk those specific notes has been so much fun because it's also bled over into the way that I talk about whiskey as well. And, not that it's like taken over everything that I fixate with on tasting notes, but yeah, I mean, I think that's such a cool thing about how you,
Well, I just
relate to common people who, are drinking whiskey.
I have a horrible diet, so that's the way it is.
Yeah, how's that cholesterol going, man?
And to sum my story up, you left, and I ended up sitting by that fireplace with an old man from Georgia, and we drank some Sazerac rye, and he got in trouble by his wife.
Amazing.
And she said, "Get your ass up to the bed. I'm having some whiskey." That's what I mean, because he was trying to say rye and whiskey, and I'll never forget how he said it. Risky. And April's just sitting there laughing, and that's how we ended that night at the Beaumont. And then we had the best gravy and biscuits ever the next morning.
So I'm gonna sidestep a little bit here, and then I'm gonna bring it back around. But I have to ask you guys, what have you been drinking recently? Because it's what we normally do on the podcast.
Yeah.
But Dixon, you're the guest, so I'm going to ask you, what have you been drinking recently?
Well, generally recently in terms of bourbon, a lot of 2XO lately.
What do you mean flying across the country? And
yeah. This is what's kind of fun. It's like, I don't think I've tasted kind of fun new stuff like this in a long time with what you brought for your the
pregame chats
and I was really excited about that, and now I feel like I just witnessed a little bit of a marital tiff or something like that.
Everything's fine. Everything's fine. It's all no. We'll settle this in private. Okay.
What have you been drinking lately?
What have I been drinking lately? Well, I recently, our buddy Chade, he's over at Rare Character. I had a bottle of Benny's Rare Character.
Okay.
And speaking of, apparently we've got some Rare Character on the table.
we do.
Is that it? Is this the Benny's one?
No, that's a blend.
This is his American whiskey blend. This is the first batch he's ever done of American whiskey.
I will say,
Kentucky whiskey.
I love that bottle. It was so good.
Yeah.
And I made a post about it, like I do with stuff. And
did you get in trouble?
No, I did not get in trouble. I asked him if I was allowed to talk about it, and he said, yes, of course, it's released.
When you say him, like who are you talking about?
Chad, he's the blender for Rare
My
Character.
Daily Bourbon.
He does their single barrel program and things like that. And sometimes he'll let us have some stuff, but, it's like, hey, you can't really talk too much about it.
Yeah.
But that one was fine. The problem was people started DMing me. And I was like, leave me alone.
Do you think
about
that,
what? Like,
wanting that bottle.
Oh.
Like,
do you think that he told people to DM you?
Maybe. See, I had
like
this.
the Benny's bottle. They wanted you to.
Yeah, people were like, somebody.
Can you go up to Chicago and pick up some bottles?
Yeah, somebody said this is a bottle I wanted to get for my best man in my wedding. I'm like, this specific bottle right here. I'm like, I don't have.
That's
like,
wild.
Somebody else was like, how do I get that? I'm like, it was a Benny's release. Go to ask Benny. Ask him. Ask Benny. I don't know. But needless to say, like,
he's a man or bunny. He's a bunny. He's a big bunny.
It's been a while. It's been a while since I just made a random post saying, hey, this is good. I'll put some notes on there, and people started messaging me to the point where I was like, leave me alone.
So he does all of the blending for Rare Character. So any of their limited release products, he's the guy.
Yeah, that's really good.
He's in.
I love this. We had this a couple weeks ago, I think.
It's been about a month, I think.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, he's in charge of their single barrel program too. He's just incredible.
Like Pablo goes out and sells it. He puts them together. Okay.
Yeah, Pablo pops in and then tries everything, and then he's off into the sunset.
Like I travel a lot. I travel, a good bit, and not, it's not. There's nothing like glamorous about it. It's not like, oh.
You're staying in the finest hotels and being wined and dined, and
it's work. You're in
you
liquor
have
stores.
custom Jordans. I know better. You have custom Jordans. I know.
That's all. That says it all. Right there. Is that it? It's like, oh, that's it. Well, there you go. But
and then you too could get custom Jordans if you start your own whiskey brand.
I go into the store. I'm like, hey, whoever, like, good to see you. They're like, Dixon, how, whatever. And they're like, Pablo was just here. I feel like everywhere I go, it's like Pablo was just here. Like Pablo
he's a force of nature, man.
He is a force of nature.
Yeah. I've met Pablo exactly once.
They're doing some awesome stuff.
They are.
I mean, they're kind of, they're taking, it seems like there was a little bit of, this is the thing you see everywhere all the time. I mean, between Rare Character and Still Austin, like I'm just like, man, you guys are just doing some super cool stuff.
The only Texas whiskey that I've actually liked.
Still Austin.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you because you brought it up.
Oh, okay.
Because you poured it for us. Where do you see your relationship now with Kentucky Al?
I mean,
if I have to take this off of the episode, I can.
Oh gosh, no.
Okay.
I don't have a relationship with Kentucky Al. I haven't had a relationship with Kentucky Al since I shouldn't say haven't had. They had some things they were trying to figure out early on, that transition, whatever. But I don't.
But you're still bringing out pours of stuff that you made for Kentucky Al. It's not something. It's not like an ex-girlfriend that you're not talking about.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Well, sorta, but it also there's part of me that wants to say something that would get me in a ton of trouble with my wife.
Then don't.
No, not anybody. This is just I have great friends who are on their second marriage. And they got together, and the second marriage, they had children also, but they still recognize the children from their first marriage.
Well, sure.
I mean, I made those whiskeys.
He's pointing at me.
No, you understand? I don't know.
No, he's not.
No, I was just it's just funny. I made those things.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you did.
No one touched that dry state but me.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't. I'm probably not going to pour you the St. Patrick's Day edition of Kentucky Al because I didn't have a damn thing to do with that. But I'm proud of every bourbon I ever made.
You should be.
You know what I mean?
You should be.
You should be.
Yeah.
I don't, if I had, I've got some in there. I've got some old, batch 9s and some old ryes, and I made those. And I'm proud of them. And I'm not... that's
I'm not, more of what I mean.
I'm not taking them to a 2XO event and pouring them for a bunch of people that are there to hear about 2XO. But when I go to when I tell people who I am and my story leading up to a tasting or whatever, I mean, I tell them about the brand I started and why I started it and how I started it and all that. I mean, that it happened. It's real. It's my life. And those whiskeys are, I made them. So I'm,
And they're fucking good.
Well, it's been really, man, when that news dropped in November about the bankruptcy and all, whatever is happening there, my phone blew up, and
I know it did. Yeah.
Which understandable, I get it. And am I, I don't know. It's just, that was terrible. I hated it. One of the hardest things I ever did was leaving that. I genuinely thought that I would do that forever. But that, I don't know. Most of the time in my life, like when I am fixated on something and I think this is how it's going to go, somebody steps in and is like, you know what? You're not in charge here.
They can't bake my tumbo.
Yeah,
No.
It is, I don't know. I've no, everybody, and that was the first question. Are you going to buy it back? Are you going to do it again?
No, of course. Yeah.
It's like, look,
that is so funny because I in the back of my mind was like, I just knew that somebody was asking you that question.
It happened.
Yeah.
It still happens, which is fine. It's a reasonable question, but I don't know. I'm trying to move, like everything is moving forward. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
I don't know that. I don't know what that would look like. I don't know why I would do that. Like things, so it's just funny. Like you say, what's the real? I don't have really. I hope they figured out. I don't think I really know anybody there. But I'll tell you this: there was at least 3 years when I was with, at Stoley Group with Kentucky Owl that were 3 of the most incredible years of my life. Like so much fun, learned so much, opened my eyes to so many things. Like I definitely were a huge part of where I am now and putting me on this path and learning and people that, so like, I don't know. I look back on it and I got no regrets, but also I'm very thankful and I'm very, appreciative of what that brand, Stoley, and everybody did for me. And
I imagine that it took a long time to kind of get there with 2XO, because that's a giant leap of faith with starting a new brand too.
Yes. But I also, I started ideating on 2XO, but there was a period in between there where I left at the end of 2020. We didn't launch 2XO until September of 2022. So we're talking 2 years now, almost 3 years in between like me leaving Stoley and actually putting 2XO into the into the world.
Yeah.
And that, what's funny about that is like that whole, I'm going to do some consulting. I'm going to,
the Marianne path.
Well, which is, I don't know, it's fine, I guess, but it's just like, that is the most maddening, like the whole time you're like answering somebody. And I was really bad at it for 2 reasons. One, or maybe, one, I can't tell anybody no, and I hate asking people for money. You know what I mean? So
I'd be in the same place.
I was just like, oh yeah, whatever,
Yeah.
Like Dixon, you was like, no, I just want you to succeed. Like, I just want you to do well. So let me just, So
You're a nice guy. You're a nice guy.
I was terrible at that. They're like, send me a bill. I was like, I'm so nervous about sending a bill.
I've been in situations where I have been asked to consult before. And when I send them the bill, they say, we're not going to pay you. And that's fun.
Yeah.
That's a lot. Anyway, sorry, continue, please.
No. But yeah, then the other part of the consulting thing is like just a little bit weird is, when you just get these like panicked phone calls, right? Or these panicked messages, or we need to talk, or set up time, and it's just like, why, if you're asking me this question, why would you have ever thought that you should get into this bit? Like if this is where we are, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I'm not trying to be a jerk. I don't know everything. I don't know much.
Well, yeah.
But it's like,
but they should have had that base knowledge even before.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like, and so you're just kind of,
Is bourbon whiskey?
Wait. That was something that was like, why did you shake your head yes to that? Like, is that something that was actually
all of the things? I mean,
postured to you?
So we bought this bourbon in totes, but those totes have been aging for 2 years. So does that mean, and you're just like I don't know.
Are they 15 or are they 17?
So there was this gap. I did the consulting. It was fine. It was fun. It
wasn't what you wanted to do, though.
I'm not great at it. Just like I kind of get to the point you're like, if I'm gonna deal with these issues, it might as well be my own issues kind of thing. And so I learned a lot in that world too, and did. I also spent a lot of time in that period, kind of working. Like I did some stuff with a couple of the big barrel brokers, so got a real kind of understanding about how the bulk market was working and developing at that time, which is kind of led into all this stuff. And it's just, I mean, it's been kind of, it's been a lot of fun and kind of crazy.
So what has and I mean this is kind of a leap between you were consulting, you started a brand, and now 2025 you're creating these new products. But as far as like your sourcing of product, what's that look like for you now? Because I know that things have shifted pretty drastically as far as like the broker side of things.
Yeah. So, I mean, what was very interesting and a fun now, like a lot of the things that happen, they're like fun retrospectively. They weren't a whole lot of fun, at the time.
Yeah.
But
when you were signing checks,
when we were ideating on 2XO and developing 2XO, these partners that I have in that, it was kind of nuts. Like when we kind of, I created the concept. We kind of had the, I don't know, like the plan in place in terms of, our team. And so we kind of put some feelers out there in the world, like, hey, I want to start another brand, and we were kind of trying to figure out who might be interested and whatever. And that was, that like things were great then. Like, life, I mean, for everybody, like money was cheap and, and all that stuff. I'm just talking about like everybody, that was when people were still doing, like jumping at the chance to invest in the bourbon industry. Yeah. You don't much different than things are today. Right. Do you know what I mean?
No, I absolutely know what you mean.
I'm not saying like everything was great. I'm just saying like, we put that out there and, these private equity guys, venture capital guys, investors, they're like, what do you need? Like 20 million, 30 million, 40 million. It's like, yeah. That's exactly what I need.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah.
And
money, please.
Yeah. And of course the problem with that, be like going that route of just straight is that we were gonna have to take that money, and we were gonna have to outsource all the the kind of distribution supplier side of things, but really B is all the we just gonna have to go buy inventory. We're gonna have to go buy barrels, go to the market for barrels, and not that the market was, the market was twice the price of what the market is today, which is not saying a whole lot, but there was just it was already this kind of flood of, I don't want to say generic stuff on the market, but it wasn't like 15 years ago when you can go buy the stuff that I put into dry state. Like I go buy,
right.
It's just kind of, you're kind of limited as to what was out there. And so that's what made the relationship with Prestige Beverage Group so exciting, is that, they called me as a consultant, but they had been laying down barrels since 2015, laying down 2 different mash bills. Didn't have a bourbon, didn't know what they were going to do with the stuff, but they had been putting down, around, 1,000 barrels a year of different stuff. It was not made at a one of the big contract producers. This is all made at 2 of the kind of major players in the state, and they were kind of a relationship thing, and unique mash bills, a 35% rye mash bill on one of them, and it's not 4 Roses, but that's what everybody. But so like
we can do process of elimination.
They only make it for us. They don't make that mash bill.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
It's just for us. But I guess, really long answer to your question is like, I just I inherited these relationships. And then as I started working with this liquid, we increased some of those volumes, but we can stay on the trajectory we're on with 2XO and grow that oak series the way we're going to grow it. And we would like to grow it and keep the icons where they are and all that stuff. And, I never have to go to a broker and buy a barrel again. I don't have to live in, I shouldn't say live in that world, but it's just so hard. The price, consistency, quality, like it's just, you just can't, it's just not a place where you can build like a really, a brand that you can like grow and develop with any type of, it's just all over the map.
Yeah. You brought a couple pours too.
I did. I brought them.
He didn't even bring them. They were just over.
Well, they were here, but he
brought them into this room.
Yeah, that's true. I was curious why specifically these 2.
This because I brought the vinyl. I don't know if you've had the vinyl. So the vinyl is the newest one that's coming out.
We just reviewed it a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And the way that
I love it.
No,
you hate it.
No, listen.
So let's.
I got something to say about the Icon series. I got something to say.
Okay.
Can I? You want to start? You start.
No, I would love for you to start here.
So this whole series, you're doing something that like. When I think of like the whiskey mutant, like just this, the craziest things, I'm always like joking around. I'm like, but when I joke around about stuff, I'm always like really serious. Like in my head, I'm like really serious. Like I'm always like, if I talk to somebody, I'm like, you should do a little Debbie blend or something like that. And like Perry, I have like these like people on and they're all serious. And I'm like, you ever just like blend something up because you think it tastes like a cheesecake or anything? And they're like, what are you talking about? It's the worst thing.
This is a real thing that's happened multiple times.
Some people are like, oh, like I feel like they're like, oh yeah, like, yeah, I like candy. It's fine. But the fact that you're
candy is for children.
Yeah. And I'm like asking a serious question. And they're like, yeah, I mean, I like steak. I mean, I'll pair something with a steak. I'm like, everybody pairs. But needless to say, I don't even know if I have a question. I'm just saying, like, I think it's so awesome that you, like, this has got a vinyl record on it. We've talked about it. Perry was out of town. I did a full episode by myself, and I reviewed the sneakerhead blend because I don't know we both love sneakers. You put a shoe on a bottle of whiskey, like
you drank it out of a shoe. It was crazy.
All the stuff. But like how like I don't even know. Like I said, I don't know if I'm asking a question or I'm just saying, like, how does it feel to just know that you can, like, you know what? I'm going to blend something up that shows how much I love this. Like, if I could do something, I'd put like a Dragon Ball Z character on. I'd do an anime blend. I'd do a cupcake blend. I'd do all that. And you can literally do that. Does anybody ever say, Dixon, no, you can't put that on a bottle?
Yes, all the time.
That sucks.
Like
a Wu-Tang blend or something? I know you like Wu-Tang Clan.
Yeah, like that's the only problem with this is I'm like, I created this whole thing, and it's like, one of my favorite kind of philosophies. This is deep. Okay, one of my favorites, is that whole notion of like let's just ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Yeah,
like just let it rip. We'll figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And our like the legal department does not follow that philosophy. And I'm like, no, look, we'll put it on there, but we're never gonna do it again. Like we're not trademarking it.
Right.
We're not doing it again. So like what happens if they say cease and desist?
It's
you could never
there.
do it. It's like it's there.
Sorry.
But apparently like legal and I we're not aligned. So yeah, I got a lot of great ideas and like the sneakerhead one was one I can't believe that I never thought that I'd get that through. And I sacrificed. I shouldn't say sacrifice the right word, but like there was a line. The line I'm talking about on the toe cap of the shoe.
Yep.
And they're like, if we put that line on there, we can't do it.
Right.
But if we pull that line off, then they're like,
it's gonna be too much. I
think we can do it.
Yep.
And I was like, I can't believe that they're going with this, but we're going with this.
I don't know, man. I just think that's the coolest thing. Like we can, Perry has the real legit questions business. Like he's all that. Like honestly, I blacked out a few times when you all were talking about like all the stuff earlier. Like I was like, I don't understand like what they're talking about right now, like, the business side. But
again, don't sell yourself short.
I'm just saying, like, but you put a freaking sneaker on a bottle of whiskey, and I don't know. I think that's so cool because you were talking about consulting for other people and doing that stuff. It's not like you can be like, you know what, I want to go to Wild Turkey and I'm going to ask Jimmy Russell if we can put a shoe on a bottle of whiskey. Like you're doing your own thing, man, and it's just so cool.
I think that's what's been really fun is the especially like it was kind of fun when they were a little bit more, I don't know, emotional or kind of, but once like sneakerhead vinyl, like, because it's just been fun to play in this like crossover world, like this place where you've got people who collect,
because it all lines up. It's also the same thing.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just been so much fun. I don't know. There's like, and then you got to know your. I don't mean to say know your stuff, but like, I've seen some pretty cool sneakers because of it. You go and somebody's like, "Hey, I wanted to bring these and show you. Like, these are Jordan 5s with the wings. They only made X number of these." And I
almost wore my Jordan, my skateboard ones, the 4s, but I didn't. It was raining. So. But yeah, like, and I think I talked about this too before. You took like the sneakerhead, you took the vinyl, like those, like genres or those like fan bases are no different than the people who collect whiskey. It's the same thing. You got people who sell it on the secondary market. You sell shoes, vinyls, the same thing. You got limited releases. You got special this, special that, and just the fact that you touched on those, like, I don't know. I just think that's the coolest thing. Like,
I think it's fun. I mean, I think that. Well, I certainly don't mean this in a bad way, but like this idea that you have to create, like, these bottles are going to, I don't know. Like, to me, there's no reason why you can't just kind of like overlap into other things and make them approachable and make them fun. And I realize, like you say approachable and everybody's like, well, that's $100 bottle. Well, it is. There's a lot that goes into it. It's different. It's like half the stuff we've tried, that a bottle, part of the reason that it's $100 is because when it comes out of the barrel, it's 109 proof. And when it goes in the bottle, it's 104 proof. We don't have the luxury of, and I mean, there's a million things. There's 80% of that spent time in a second new charred oak barrel. That cost is, but I think that, there's that kind of fun thing about a crossover from, like, I love vinyl, I love whiskey, I love shoes.
Exactly. I mean, like,
collectors,
it's just, it's pairing. You're pairing, like, pair everything. You really are, like,
snack cakes.
No matter what, I always say this, no matter what, like, you may sit down with your favorite record and pour some whiskey. You're pairing that whiskey with one of your records. You may take a picture with a shoe. You're wearing a good shoe. You're feeling good. And you're like, I'm going to pour some good whiskey. We're always pairing everything. And you literally put it on the bottle. And that's like, you're like the most honorary whiskey mutant ever. So,
yeah. Send me that clip.
Yeah. I will definitely do that.
Yeah.
That's going on the social media.
It's so cool. I love it. And honestly, like, I've always said that I've got, and I have them, I'll say I've got the whole series come at me. But they've all been so consistent to the point where, like, they're always so good. They always just have this, like, I can take the story you're putting on there, I can figure it out and all that. I don't know. When we did the vinyl blend, though, like, I feel like something might have changed. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. Like, this one went like a little step above the rest. Like, I don't know. This may be my favorite one.
Well, there were two aspects for me that I kept coming back to. The first one is that I named the episode best release of the Icon series.
What else he did?
Yeah.
Didn't understand this at first. The back of the label.
It's complicated.
I'm
He
too
was like, mash bills? What?
I'm too analytical.
Dude, that's the vinyl. No, I had to point that out.
The other one is that my favorite of the Icon series is the tribute blend. There's something about that release that is the most it's the most familiar, I guess.
That's awesome. It's funny because I never really ever hear that. Like, that's never the one, and that's my favorite.
Really?
Oh yeah, 100%. Like, it is the most dangerously easy drinking, like, just smooth silk velvet. I don't got to think about it.
Yeah.
I don't. It's not like there's my. I don't got to think about it. I don't have to. But like,
Hey,
that
you go.
That tribute is.
I still haven't actually grabbed a bottle either. I need to.
We still got some at my place.
Well, I know.
You can always have some of
I
mine.
know. But anyway, but like going back to that compared to the vinyl blend too, I'm like, I feel like even though there's been this progressive like step up from release to release to release, the tribute blend still has had this like, heads above the rest comparison, I feel like. And this one lives up to that in my mind. I feel like, and I think I said this on that episode, it's so funny to talk about like your releases as somebody who has been blending whiskey for so long. like you're learning with every single blend, but I mean, you do talk about, of course, how you're never doing things, by the books. Everything's, its own.
Are you doing illegal stuff? Illegal? Like anything illegal? Okay. Yeah, he brought it up.
Trying to make $1 here.
Yeah, I understand. I think the coolest thing though is like it is.
We're glazing a lot. We should.
No, but it's good stuff. Like it's easy to like look at whatever's on that label on the icon, and like maybe it's just me because that's what I do constantly is like compare things to like somebody running away with Taco Bell. I mean, but like the Kiwa, like that's your vacation pour. And to me, I got a lot of like tropical notes that I didn't normally get in the other ones. And I was like, this does kind of remind me of like I'm on the beach. Like I've just poured some whiskey. Maybe I've had like a cocktail at the beach bar and stuff like that. And the sneakerhead one, I was like, is it just in my head or is this a little darker, a little leathery? Like is this like making me feel like I'm like, wearing a fresh pair of shoes? I don't know. I know I'm just saying stuff, but
no,
like,
I feel like
are you thinking of that?
No,
like
you're giving me way too much credit for that. They're actually kind of like two separate things. Like there is the battle. Battle is the wrong word. If my team is, I'm sorry, it's not a battle. There is the.
Sorry, 2XO team.
There is the journey. That is, what the next icon is going to be and what that name is going to be and what that's going to look like. And then there is the journey of the development of the blend. But like, I would never just make up a, bold-faced lie like, yeah, when this.
The story on the back of the box.
I made this because it,
Grandpappy's recipe.
It like goes so well with like, the feeling of pulling that vinyl out of the sleeve and the
first time you drop the needle on and the record scratches. And
you're more like, this is what it tastes like when I ate the cardboard of the case. No, I'm just saying. I don't know. Like,
Electric Relaxation by Tribe Called Quest comes on.
When I lick a vinyl, this is what I taste. Oh, man. But yeah, it's good. Good stuff. Good stuff.
I think this one is pretty solid. It's pretty drinkable. I think honestly, what I love about them is like I'm a mouth feel guy. Mm-hmm. The weight, the viscosity, the like that is and sometimes I don't notice it until you've kind of tasted some other things and I'm like, wow, this has I forget like the how much that double oak exposure builds that kind of weight and viscosity and mouthfeel and then so
well
good.
Since we touched on the blending process here too, I want to ask you as well about like how your process has changed from what you did with Kentucky Owl to 2XO.
Yeah, I mean, very simply, I did use some. I mean, I was certainly double barreling things with Kentucky Owl. A lot of that was to try to modify or kind of correct or work with things we had in inventory, but for all intents and purposes, like we built this inventory of barrels at Kentucky Owl, and we had everything. Like, different ages, different, and this is not. I mean, this is not like I hope this doesn't turn into like a news story or something like that. But like they were just, they're very excited about about what we were doing with Kentucky Owl. So, there were times like there would be barrels available and I'd say, hey, I think if we could get 100 of those, 150 of those, like, well, and next thing I know, like, we bought 600. And I was like,
Jeez.
like there was just so much. It was actually really hard to keep up with, all the different things that they had acquired and what they were, and some of those last batches, the blending process was incredibly complicated because like I'm putting 7-8 different components in there, and we're not talking about like one of these and one of those and one of those, we're talking about like 100, like 100 and something, 200, barrel blends towards the end of that. And I mean, it was interesting and challenging. And then these barrels had been moved several times and they were in different places in different rick houses. And so that changed things. And, the trying to understand the yield of each of these components and how they would affect a blend. And, it was a lot. It was fun, but it was, sometimes I'd find myself like in a rick house and it's like, I got to go find these barrels and I'm knocking on the heads of the barrels trying to find like where the liquid started in the barrel so I could have an idea of what volume of liquid was in. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
It was just. So I think, with that was that. And then with 2XO, it's much different. We basically, like, I know where everything is. The variable in the development is, whether or not it's been double barreled and and what that secondary char level is, or if we put chains in them for the other things. But like, I don't purposefully tried to eliminate a lot of the like crazy extraneous variables that we had, that I continue to run into as we.
But it hasn't gotten away from you.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's always something, but it's nothing like it was then. Yeah. So I'm a systems guy. Like, I'm like what's the system? Let's create a system. Let's we need to create variables within that system that give us different things to play with. But like, what is the system? And that became a very difficult system to manage towards the end of my time with Kentucky Owl because there were so many variables.
I mean, it was a high demand too, just because of the popularity, I imagine.
I mean, I don't know.
Fair.
Do we got another one over here?
We do.
Yeah. If you want it.
Yes.
I think so.
So I want to ask. So we've touched on the icon. Now we're at the gem, which are single barrels, right? You've picked many single barrels. Mm-hmm. As we pour this, what goes into your thought process when picking a gem of Kentucky? Like what makes you be like, you know what, this is my single barrel? Because people can't pick these, right? These are just what you pick.
Well, we're opening that up soon, but
right now.
Yeah, and like, so I will tell you that like this is something that I wanted to do. Like this bottle, this concept, like a double barreled single barrel, like this was always, and I remember like I could probably find it But like I literally like I remember taking an 8.5 by 11 piece of copy paper and a Sharpie marker and like drawing this bottle and scanning it and sending it to somebody on the design team. And I was like, can you make a rendering of like this all black bottle? Because I just think it would be awesome. And we were not the first all black bottle. I thought we were going to be. And then I was at Drew's house one day.
I think I have one of those, the bottles you're talking about. Yeah.
And I was like, damn it, Drew. Like, mine is done. We're just waiting on the glass. But
he had to put the purple on there. And all
whatever.
that stuff.
I know. I mean, they're awesome. But this was just like this in my head. And it really was a big part of like what I was, hoping to do with 2XO is to make something like a whole brand and concept and structure around something a little more modern and not the heritage play. Like,
right.
This is a brand that's named after some mule that hauled slop up a hill in 1847 or, so, and then to me, the idea of like a double barreled single barrel. So the reality is the way it works is, when I go to start working on the icons and I taste different lots. And one of the things we have that's different about our program is that like the high rye bourbon mash bill that we use for the icons, a 35% rye. We have it produced 50 barrels 10 months a year is what I'm getting right now. We've increased that. So, but it's not one of the big contract situations where, somebody's like, I'm going to run you 300 barrels and boom, they're done. Like we're a constant run. So there's variation across the lots. And then so I'll select certain lots and I'll double barrel when they're between 6 and 7 years old. And then there are times where I'm just like, I don't want to put this in a blend. Like these barrels are just bangers.
Yeah.
I just want to hang on to them. So this is barrel number 80. This is right next to, this is actually, I prefer this to number 2. Number 2 is the one that just got 94 points from Whiskey Advocate, but I actually kind of like this one a little better. And these are just fun stuff. This is, it's a one, it's low off the still. It's a 110 entry proof. Like this bottle, when we dumped this barrel, is probably 109. You bottled at 108, so there's not nothing. There's a couple drops of water in there or whatever. But they're just big, they're rich. There's like a lot of movement to me. Like they're just when there's good red fruit, there's good spice. Like they're just.
It reminds me of a caramel apple, but you didn't use the green apple. There's this like red apple,
a Granny Smith.
Like
Fuji.
Yeah. Like, or the, what's the ones that they cost they're so expensive.
The Red Delicious.
Yeah. Whatever the red is. It's like that with caramel. It's not the green apple. Like you always see a green apple. Like that's what I get. Like instant, like apple and caramel, but you can tell that there's like this, like red apple on there instead of the green. I don't know. Like
I think you gave it like a pretty decent sprinkling of cinnamon over top.
Yeah, it could be like an apple pie too.
Yeah,
like it's red. It's red. I see the color red, and then there's apple pie on there.
They're just fun, and they're there's a lot of variation across these.
There really are.
Yeah, this is 80, but and I think so. We're gonna kind of open up that barrel program, which is gonna be awesome. It's also like kind of terrifying.
Yeah,
because this is your first barrel program, right?
Well, it's not like it's just I've lived in this world for so long.
Yeah.
I bought barrels at the end. I've done all. Like I kept telling this team, like our team and everybody else, like once we to open this box.
It's you're
Like
just
the toothpaste is out of the tube.
Yeah,
once this
for sure.
happened. And,
Yeah.
you know, and every all the things that come with that. And they're like, oh, what could happen? Like what could come
what
with that?
happened?
I
They
was
could put a
like,
sticker on it that's very offensive, and you could be getting calls from legal. Like,
yeah.
it's like,
oh, what could happen?
We didn't do this. It's not our fault. So, I can't remember. Was it? It's been a few years,
this is really good.
but I got a text while I was in South Carolina from our buddy Dexter. He said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I was like, "Well, I'm kind of going to the beach tomorrow." He was like, "So there's no way that you could make it to Buffalo Trace to go pick a barrel of Eagle Rare with me and Dixon?"
You never told me this. I never heard of this.
You've never heard this story?
This is a long time ago.
Yeah, I didn't know about this.
Back when I interviewed Dexter for the podcast,
Yeah.
I had brought up, how there could have been some cool collaboration between his former restaurant and your former restaurant.
Well, when we did this,
The N, the two Ns.
Yeah, the two ends.
when we did it,
NXO.
we still had the ends.
Yeah.
I mean, that was, it was Bobby. So Bobby's the one that reached out to me. And,
Yeah.
And,
But I had like planted the idea in Dexter's brain when I had him on the podcast. And he was like, "I really want you to be a part of this because it was your brainchild." I was like,
You let him down.
I was in South Carolina. I was
You had a car.
dude,
I was 10 hours away.
what an amazing, like that. I met Dexter when Dexter was, I mean, they were coming in when Dexter was probably in diapers. Watching him, and he, worked his tail off. We did some really cool stuff at Merrick, and
Yeah.
and now he's just killing it.
He really,
And-
really
His
is.
sons, man.
And
Yeah.
then I stopped by the the van outside Commonwealth Stadium for every football game
Yeah.
and see his parents and
Do you-
him. And
Do you
and-
know about what Obstinate Sons did for our live show
No.
last year? So we were trying to figure out something cool to do, and Obstinate had just opened like a few months ago, and Eric got in contact with Dexter and was like, do you think you could make some kind of sweet treat, some kind of dessert for
I wanted something that nobody could get. Like, it's
Yeah.
like just something that if you came to this live show and like the guys from Bourbon Pursuit Spirits were a part of it. Kenny was there. And I was like, I gotta figure something out.
They're kind of divas though.
They are, yeah, I could see that. But
They're kind of pretty boys.
yeah, I agree.
So I'm sure that
Well-
their request was kind of.
Well, they didn't request anything.
They had
I was
nothing to
trying to,
do
be
with
nice
this.
and be like, I'm going to do something fun for them.
But you can't do like a normal thing for them. You got to do something because they're
Well,
kind of.
Dexter and his team made a zebra cake, Little Debbie zebra cake bread pudding made with Pursuit United rye. And it was I picked it up, and I swear to God, I almost didn't make it to the show because I kept smelling this thing, and I was like, I'm going to have to taste this right now. But yeah, Dexter just he like, just like anything else, like he's like, Little Debbie cakes. I love Little Debbie cakes and all that. He went to his team and they literally made a zebra cake bread pudding with rye whiskey in it.
I mean, that's pretty incredible. Did you ever have that Eagle Rare that we did together?
No, I have a bottle. Well, I have the remnants of a bottle of it.
What does that mean?
Like I don't have a lot of that pick left.
Did you taste it?
Yes. The answer is yes. It's an incredible pick.
It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
I don't know if I got to taste.
Yes, you did.
I don't know.
I have one. You want to taste it?
Yeah, let's taste some.
it.
Yeah.
Another segment of Pop Chickawawa. Here.
Yeah, right.
Play the music. Oh,
I mean, there are people that have been, on that side of my life, my career, the restaurant, hospitality, food side of things when we were doing all that, and I was very interested in not changing the concept or culture or whatever of Bo-1-M, but once it was a big change for us in the early 2000s, 2004, we got alcohol. And, so the idea was like, how do you kind of elevate what we're doing a little bit and things like that. And Bobby Murray, the Murray family, like Bobby, I had this chef that we hired who became one of my great friends and passed away. But he was just this, and he came to me from Bobby, I was like all of these things, like all of my life kind of somehow works back around to all
it's
these
crazy.
different
Yeah.
things.
Well, I knew Dexter because I played baseball. Well, I also went to school with him, but I played Little League with him too. I mean, he's just a year younger than I am. So, I mean,
so then there's Brad, who has a place up in Northern Kentucky, and his family who had Towsey House Tavern.
Yeah.
I mean, they are a restaurant family. And
I love Towsey.
Yeah, and we did one of the most amazing. I will never forget this event. Brad put together this event at Towsey several years ago, and I had no business. I mean, I'm not, nobody. So we go and there's this tasting event upstairs at Towsey, and I get there and I was supposed to bring like 4 things to taste. 50 people on. So like 3 bottles of different. This is way early Kentucky Owl days. And so Julian Van Winkle leads the tasting and has like 5 insane things that he pours, one of which is like wax top stuff from the 70s.
Oh my gosh.
Like and then Jim Rutledge pours 3 just like out of nowhere limited edition small batch releases that they had, and then I poured 3 or 4 Kentucky Owls, and I was like, I was like, I don't think I can like.
I mean, I can understand
why do you make me
feel
follow
that way.
these guys? Like, can I go first and then run? Like, why do I have to be the last one? And no greater compliment than like, I mean, Julian sat there and like tasted all the Kentucky Owls and was like, I love this one. Like, this is awesome. Like, I knew Mr. Van Winkle, but like, why do you make me do, but it was awesome. So we go downstairs and they've got this tinted thing. And they're raising money for this. It was a Northern Kentucky thing or Cincinnati thing called the Dragonfly Foundation. This Dragonfly Foundation is a charity that sponsors families that have a child with cancer.
Okay.
So like,
Yeah.
if you got a kid with cancer and your kid's in the hospital and you got to go live with that, like they pay for your groceries, they pay for your gas, they pay for your rent, they pay for your rent.
Yeah,
like
that's awesome.
it's incredible. So they get a couple people to go up there and like give these testimonials. And I've never seen, it would just turned into this absolutely incredible outpouring. Everybody that had donated something was going back up there and like, we'll donate too. We'll donate, like it moved the needle for me for like what things like that can do. But that whole family, everybody in that, kind of Murray clan does some pretty amazing stuff.
Well, cheers to that.
Yeah.
You know what's awesome about this Eagle Rare is it's not your normal Eagle Rare. I think Perry was talking about it earlier, but like I always get like kind of like we mentioned grape Kool-Aid. I get a real like candy grape on most Eagle Rares, and this one reminds me of French toast. It's like it reminds me of butter melted in with syrup and French toast.
I spent a lot of time just letting it kind of soak over my tongue and my palate, and as soon as you said French toast and butter,
Yeah.
it immediately hit.
I don't know.
It's such a savory.
It is. It's a very savory Eagle Rare, and it's not a fruity one.
I was smelling it, and I was just kind of basking in it, and not to get too nostalgic for both ends, but it does make me like miss going and eating, and those days for sure.
I always got this and still get, maybe just because you all have far superior palates to mine, but it's just like there's just like
You're crazy.
like this. I can only. It's not like it's a mesquite, like this kind of smoky mesquite thing on there that always made this barrel like stand out to me.
Well, thanks for opening.
I have no idea the last time I tried this. It's been forever.
It's been a long time since I have too, but
I don't even know if I tried it. He may not.
I got some in the.
you have tried this on multiple occasions.
I don't think I have. I don't think you shared this.
So
with me.
I around the time that this pick came out, well, I guess it didn't really come out. It just kind of stayed in relative obscurity.
We heard about it.
Yeah. I got advertised on Facebook a bottle, not a the whole package. A bottle of Double Eagle Very Rare, like the empty bottle.
The empty bottle
for like $25 or something. I mean, it was ridiculously cheap. And I was like, I got some money to burn. Just curious what's going to happen here. So I pulled the trigger, and it showed up, like a month later?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I kind of forgot about it, and it had a rubber cork. It was mostly plastic. It was about the size
What
of
we would call a scam.
but I was anticipating being scammed by it.
Right.
It was
good for you.
Yeah, no, I wasn't like looking for, the whole package here. It was about the size of your water bottle here. This Dasani water bottle. Anyway, it was around the time that this came out, I was like, oh, I'll have a nice little decanter for the Innkeeper's special.
He could have paid me for the podcast.
What
He did that.
Yeah.
He bought a plastic bottle.
Right.
Are you looking to get paid now?
I mean, I knew from that point I wasn't going to get paid anymore, so I just accepted it.
You better pay your talent, Perry.
Anyway, we don't have any barrel rings this week.
Sometimes people call in, they ask questions like advice, and nobody did it this time.
Yeah. No calls, no texts. We're a little dry. It's fine. Unless I've missed something. No, we got nothing.
Wait,
Great.
we do this live?
Well, they leave
No.
us a voicemail, and we just reply to it on the show.
You ever watch Mr. Show?
No.
Do you know that? Never mind.
You ever watch Love Line back in the day? It's nothing like that. It's nothing like that.
All right. Well, how about high proof hot takes? You have
High
anything?
proof hot takes.
You gonna dunk on me?
You know what? I think I've done enough dunking. Like, maybe, a little hot take. Big release coming out. You get it. You got a best friend. You got a co-host, and you're like, you know what? I'm just gonna try this by myself. Don't do that.
Okay. Tips and bits. This is the segment of the show where we recommend things that we've been watching, reading, listening to, just enjoying, that we want to pass on to you, that we also want you to hopefully enjoy. Dixon, what have you been enjoying recently that you also want people to check out?
I've of course finished White Lotus like everybody.
I really, really enjoyed this season.
It's good.
I thought it was really a lot of fun.
Gosh, I wish I could think. So, and then started. What's the John Hamm one that's out there? That's kind of.
I cannot think of it off the top of my head, but I know what you're talking about.
It's a good one. It's good. It's interesting.
On Apple TV.
Yep.
Right. Let me look
Yep.
at it real quick.
Yep.
Come on.
Yeah, I'm trying to think.
Don't pressure him.
Your friends and neighbors.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting, but it's good. Wish I known. I would have written down. I all I do is watch stuff on an iPad on an airplane. I know all the things.
I was gonna say you're probably always watching travel shows.
Have you
while you're
watched The Studio yet?
Yeah, I love The Studio.
It's so good.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's a mess, but it's good.
It is, but it's incredible. I think it's one of the best shows on I say TV, but on streaming
It's going
right now, I think.
What else? There's another one I just finished that was Dope Thief.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about, but I haven't checked it out yet.
Based on a book. Dope Thief.
Awesome.
It's intense. Like you can't. This is. You do not watch this with your children. But it's solid. I was hooked on.
All right,
Dope
I'll
Thief.
put it on the queue.
Yeah.
Is this?
It's Apple TV also.
Oh, Brian Tyree Henry, who was in Atlanta, is in it.
Yep.
Ving Rhames. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm totally down.
I mean, it is intense.
Yes.
But it's awesome.
I'm here for it. Eric, what about you?
Well, I finished Andor. Such an amazing show. Like, I'm tired of. Maybe this is a high proof hot take. I'm tired of people that are like, I love Star Wars and I only want to see lightsabers. Like, just stop. Just stop. Like, it's about a war. There's things that happen behind the scenes that didn't have lightsabers, and Andor tells this. This show is just awesome. Like, it's another show that, like, I've said this, I'm just repeating myself. Like, it's a show that if you took the Star Wars out of it, it would still be a great story. Like, it's espionage, it's like war, it's all this, it's all the stuff that, like, I probably grew up watching that I had no business watching, like stuff like Heat and like, Saving Private Ryan and different things like that, like violence and like war. Like, somebody just finally was able to say, like, you know what? If there was a real battle going on in Star Wars behind the scenes before Jedis and stuff, like, this is what's happening. Like, people are bad. I don't know. I just think it was a great series. I won't go into too much detail, no spoilers, but like, I don't know, man. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like those episodes are just like movies.
Those are just your favorite numbers.
Yeah, that's as far as I can count to. I can't count any higher than that. Yeah, they are my favorite numbers. But Yeah, if you've not watched Rogue One, Andor, and you like Star Wars, give it a chance. You're not going to get the Force and lightsabers and stuff, but it's just legit good shit. So,
well, I want to recommend last week's Matt Madness.
oh god, I don't want to talk about this. Diabolical.
Because
That's all I can say.
there was a incredible performance from somebody who was not even really competing and mostly just watching basketball, and they also somehow won.
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, that's fair. Eric, I'm sorry,
It's okay.
but I love you.
I could have won.
You could have won.
Matt Porter is an evil genius, and he decided that, you know what, I'm going to put bottles in here that some people have never heard of, and I had no chance to win at the end. So I had fun, though. I had fun.
You know, just to bring this all kind of full circle, you said Matt Porter.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
I don't know. I think about people that have kind of like been super supportive of me and played a role. You know, we've had a lot of fun, who kind of accepted me and what I've done for what I'm doing, and then have like turned out to be just phenomenally successful and like created like these places and niches for themselves and followers and turned into things like, and not like y'all, like Matt, like whatever. Like I think about, I don't know how y'all were like so supportive of me, and then like now you guys are like big famous, like, you know, whatever. It's just it's pretty freaking cool, and that you kind of come back and say, hey, like can we come talk to you again or whatever, but you know, you're still going 380 something.
Yeah, this is episode 383.
Yeah, I don't know what Matt's doing now, but I'm sure he's doing amazing stuff. That, you know, and
He's doing incredible.
He's a blender now.
I know. I mean,
It's crazy, and he's messing with my head. Like he messed with me the whole time.
I have the bottle. Can we show? We got.
Yeah, please.
We can
No.
do whatever you want. You have a bathroom, so it's all good.
That's what's elevated
You're
Dixon.
legit.
to-
You're legit. You have a bathroom in your office.
I'm gonna hold it down low so you
Uh-oh.
can see.
Okay, all right.
Uh-oh.
All right, I'm going to be quiet.
And I have the original. Like,
Oh, it's the actual Beagle Rare.
yeah.
And it's in a, what is that? A
High West.
High West bottle, because it got the sparkles in it.
But that's all of that, like everything.
Oh my gosh.
That's the original.
I can't believe that you have. Oh my gosh.
Look at that.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I mean, this
Like
is
all the cool stuff that we did that y'all allowed me to participate in.
This is the blend that produced 1,000 Tears that made and so I will brag on my my good fortune for a second too, because it wasn't just
good fortune, man. You've worked your ass off.
Well,
Like,
I mean,
I'm proud of what y'all have done.
No,
man.
and I appreciate that, but also like, you know, I've had the opportunity to, you know, spend long hours and, you know, stay up late and, you know, work on the podcast and edit and, you know, send emails that have mattered and everything, and, you know, talk to people who are willing to give me the chance. Like it's not just like things have fallen into my lap. Like, yeah, you're right. I have worked hard, but it's like there is room for like me to be allowed to do it too, right? So, but in all of that, though, there's some recognition of like Porter saw that I was connected to you and I had a space where he could come and talk. And then I had that spark of like, I want to come and talk to you about Porter. And I wanted to like share this awesome thing that he was doing with Beagle Rare back in the day and how cool the collaboration aspect of it was. And like the fact that all those, trials and tribulations of this blend are like here in front of us. It is so amazing.
That was such a fun thing. Like all
it
of
really
those things.
was,
But,
man.
like I think back about.
Pregnant women should not drink this. Sorry, is what it says on the label.
I remember like, so you mentioned them. I remember being, it was like that Southern Whiskey Society event, and this young, I was not old then. I was young then, but they looked a lot younger than me, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna starting this YouTube thing. Like, we're starting this. Like, could we interview you?" And I was like, "Me?" And they're like, "Yeah. Like, can we interview you?" And I was like, "Do you know, like, I know? I mean, I was like, do you?" Like I'm a waiter here, and they're like, "No, you're the Kentucky Algon." I was like, "Okay." And I was like, "Y'all are great. Like, what are your names?" And they're like, "Oh, this is And I was like, "Are y'all?" They're like, No. We're kind of like starting this thing together, but we're not together, And then I see them later in life, and they're like, "Well."
They sound like they're somebody trying to hide their relationship. No, we're not together.
Well, they weren't. Then
Yeah.
then they're like, "We have to tell you something. Like, we're kind of dating." So
I knew
years
it.
later, it's like, "Oh, we're getting married."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but I
You're
feel
the ring
like
bearer.
all this stuff, like I've come along, like I've watched y'all all like do these awesome things, and it's really cool and it's exciting, and I'm happy for you.
You're really cool.
I mean, it's just very. I always talk about like how much I love being friends with people who are doing really awesome things, and is it very cool to see these big heritage brands doing amazing, turning point kind of, innovative releases, of course, but when you have friends who are making really great products, Chad with Rare Character, you with 2XO, it's just so much more exciting to me than looking from the outside in than anything else.
Well, I mean, it's, you walk a fine line as a journalist,
Is that what I am now?
Yeah, you've always been that. This is the same. This like you saying like I'm not that big a deal or whatever. I shouldn't be part of this. You should. I know business in that. Yes, you do. I just like to talk to people. You're an interviewer. You're a journalist. Just take it as it is.
I guess I do some journalism sometimes, but
and I like snack cakes.
Well,
on that
I gotta get moving.
On that note, we need to get out of here. Dixon, thank you so much for hanging out with us, buddy.
You know where it is now.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to just come here and I don't want to?
Yeah, I'll get you a key.
Okay, thanks.
We've got all the links for how you can hit us up and everything in the description below. Support the show, support Dixon, please, as well. We love you, man. Thank you for everything.
Thank y'all.
We appreciate you.
It's great.
We'll see you next time. Until then, though, I'm Perry.
I'm Eric. You're Dixon.
I am Dixon.
You are.
One thing, though.
Yeah. Huh? Yes.
Just say this. Matt Porter There needs to be one final match between Perry and Eric in Matt Madness. Bonus episode, Matt Madness.
He has
Perry
to
versus
say
Eric.
all this?
Yeah. Just say, Matt Porter, do it.
I'm still a little bit upset that I lost to Matt Porter in the thing down in. No, that wasn't in Tennessee. That was in Louisville.
Oh, yeah.
Because I got disqualified because we added some water and cut the proof of our blend back.
Bonus episode. Tell him to put us on there.
Yes, let's do it, Matt.
All right. You heard it.
We
here.
got we have
here.
bones to pick.
We have bones to pick. We have stuff to do. We have whiskey to drink. We have stuff to do.
This needs to happen
now.
Porter's going to be on an episode soon. Until then, though, this is my Bourbon Podcast.